Welcome to another session of Ceo Gconnect today. This is a program that we bring to you from time to time, 7 days a week, and as time permits, special editions on monthly basis, quarterly basis, and annual basis. Of course, we have our forum, which we hold, and we'll be inviting you to join us in that forum, where we bring all these conversations to life. We bring together CEOs to a location to have some form of refreshment, to have some form of rest, while at the same time learning, co-learning and co-sharing knowledge and information that can advance the course of that business. On the program today, we are having someone that is full of experience, someone that have been in the printing industry for over 25 years. Yes, you heard that right, for over 25 years. This person have navigated all the various aspects of the printing industry. And on the program today, he's very much ready to share his experience. You can imagine what 25 years of experience in the printing industry in Nigeria can offer. And so I want to urge you to sit back, take a sip of water, and your popcorn ready on your right hand side as we have this conversation with Mr. Gideon Eloho. Mr. Gideon Eloho is the Chief Executive Officer of Chrome Waters Limited. Mr. Gideon, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, like we have been trying to relate, to each other for a while now as we are preparing for this program. The printing industry is an industry that have so many teeth, have so many responsibility to driving businesses, because like you pointed out, is a communication and a technology service combined. Make us to understand, what is the printing business essentially? What is it? What kind of services do they offer?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's not only driving business, but if the government, or if any government of any nation, we understand it, printing is actually one of the backbones that the economy of a given country, or of any given country, can be driven on.
Okay.
Now I want to put this before you, that outside agriculture or after agriculture, the next business that's employ hands is printing.
Okay.
Printing is actually in levels. You have the print shop, you have the presses, and just other. But even the print shop, which is the lowest, you can't get into a print shop and see less than 5 persons
working in that environment.
You understand? And like I mentioned earlier, printing is actually the vehicle. Printing is the vehicle which modern civilization drove into being today. You see, there is rarely any outfit you get to that you will not have to do with printing.
Okay.
There's rarely any business you set up that you will not consult the printer to get you something. No matter how bad the economy of any nation is, you cannot do without the printer.
Okay.
Even the dress you are wearing, the fabrics. Not the fabrics alone, I'm talking of the colored pattern you see there.
Yes.
It's as a result of printing.
Okay.
So printing does not only end with paper, it cuts across the fabrics you wear, the textile industry, the packaging industry, and the corporate world.
From what you're saying now, it seems that printing encompasses, like you mentioned, different segments of the economy.
It cuts across
different sectors of the economy.
Very well.
Now, for such an industry, do you have an idea? You pointed out that, using the example of the print shop, that a minimum of 5 persons, so to speak, is usually employed in an individual print shop, for instance. So, do you have an idea of the size of this industry, the printing industry, so to speak?
Very well. In fact, let me start by letting you know that annually,
yes,
what we lose, what Nigeria lose to foreign nation by procuring printing services abroad is almost 3 trillion naira.
Wow.
Now, very shortly, in matter of months, we'll be talking of election.
Yes. Yes.
And yourself and myself know what
is involved.
What is involved. You can't talk of the election without talking of printing materials.
Items.
You know why the presidential election in 2019 was postponed? Because the ballot papers, the presidential ballot paper was not on ground, and the election was postponed by a week or 2. You know, so it shows the role we play in any given economy. You understand?
Yeah.
So now when you look at it, today we have 3 paper mills that are moribund.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria.
Okay.
The Wakwi paper mill, the Okwiboku paper mill, and the Jeba paper mill. And
moribund.
Now, we import tons of papers to be used. We import educational materials to be used. We even go as far as going outside this nation to print ballot papers.
Even as far as to t-shirts, if I'm not mistaken.
That's another aspect of it, you know. But I know very well INEC is ready to do it right this time around.
Okay.
They are using local printers, and they are set to ensure that every of the ballot papers or the sensitive materials and the non-sensitive materials will be printed here. I may not be able to give a straight figure that this is what was budgeted, but I know what was budgeted for the forthcoming election is not less than 150 billion
for printing activities.
Now
let's look at the value chain. You know, you talked about the print shops, because currently we are, as a country, we are deeply in unemployment waters.
Very well.
And from what you are saying, the printing industry have the capacity to contribute to reducing this unemployment.
Very well.
Now, from your vantage point, what can you tell us about what is yes, you mentioned about INEC trying to get it right. What are the things, the signs that you are seeing with regards to government intervention to ensure that these moribund paper mills, for instance, are revitalized?
Now, going by that way, you see, these moribund paper mills were sold to foreigners.
Okay.
And there are agreements, papers were signed. So, in you talking of, bringing them back, you've sold it. And you cannot just go back and say you are taking this. It's just about we now going about modern technologies.
Okay.
You understand?
So shifting away from the paper milling.
Yeah, it's not shifting away from it. Rather, looking at the cottage industry.
Okay.
Smaller ways of getting these papers produced. Nigeria still produce pulp.
Okay.
Pulp is one of the major materials used to produce paper. So I think 1 or 2 of these moribund paper mills produce pulp. And, they produce this pulp and still send them abroad. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes, they produce pulp and send them abroad. So no paper has been produced here.
Wow. So how is the industry meeting with its raw material needs?
As we speak, like I mentioned, we don't produce paper. So what we do is we import papers. Every single paper, up to the smallest A4 you use in your office, we import.
Now let's come back. I don't. Maybe we might need to.
So with Nigeria feeds some nation abroad, the likes of Indonesia,
China.
But in fact, when it has to do with paper, Indonesia is feeding large from Nigeria. You see, there are press houses in places like India that run 365 days a year, 247, printing educational materials for
Nigeria's consumption. Now,
so if all of these are being made to be done in Nigeria, you can imagine the level of employment that will be, that will be generated. If I tell you that a print shop
employs
minimum 5, that means a standard press of that magnitude will not employ less than 200 persons. So you can imagine what goes into the pocket of 200 persons and take it down to their downlines. You see, do you know how many people you are taking away from poverty? So that is just something. So, but you see, all of this is just whichever effort that is being done is still at the individual level. Government is yet to recognize the printing industry.
Is yet to recognize the printing industry. Okay, now we'll come back to government, but let's come back to you now as an individual businessman, as the CEO of Chrome Waters Limited. How has it been? How have you been able to, with all these issues, the lack of recognition by government, how have you been able to navigate your way through and still remain in business 25 years today?
Yeah, well, in business you get your ups and downs. So we've had time when it was not that palatable. We kept moving, and today we won't say it's bad. We have friends that have left the country because they said the economy is bad. But we, based on what is in the industry, I mentioned to you earlier that we have untapped potential in the industry. We are, even though things are, papers are being, our jobs are being taken abroad. You see, if you need to say, okay, look, you want to set up a company, you meet me for your company profile. You have an event you are doing, you need t-shirt, you meet me for your t-shirt to be printed. You need your complimentary card, you need me for that. You are setting up an exhibition, so you need me for that. So we exist in every sphere of life. So coming to answer your question, that how has it been? How have we been able to survive? Yes, it's like you are asking the man that sells water to people, how have you been able to do it? People must drink water.
That's true. That's true.
I'm a printer. People must print.
Now, I understand that aspect, but I want to look deeply into, because of course, when we also see that most of the printing works are being shipped abroad, leaving the printers in Nigeria to, struggle for the remainder.
The crumbs.
But again, when we say struggle for the crumbs, it also means that there are quite a number of printers like you. So the question is the crumbs enough for the printers in Nigeria to struggle for and to survive?
Well, if I tell you it's enough, I will be lying to you. It's not enough. Now, this is the reason. You see, printing is one unique industry that people easily come into.
Yes. Low entry
You understand? You see the director that is retiring from the ministry because he's been in charge of procurement, procuring printing items, or he sees the way they do it, he wants to come into printing. Because he's coming in with money to invest. You understand? You see the religious center, the level of printing they do.
Automatically they want to set up a
there are few churches that you see that don't have their own personal presses. So because you can imagine what they will be spending if they have to engage the services of printers. You understand? So printing is a field where people easily come into, and you can't tell them no, don't come in. The only thing is, yes, we want more professionalism in it.
So we're going to come to the aspect of professionalism. Yeah. But I want to tap something. You know, you have so much experience. I want you to share with us. You know, our listeners are CEOs, as you may know. We want you to look at them and tell them, how have you been able? Because we know, based on our interactions, interviews of like these that we have had with different CEOs, we know the challenges people are facing in different sectors of the economy. Yeah. Talk less of the printing industry that has been divided, so to speak, whereby part of the printing activities are shipped abroad and all whatnot. So how have you been able to, so there is a high competition in the printing industry. Definitely. From our own understanding. Definitely. How have you been able to meet with those competitions? Yeah,
okay, I think I have an upper hand looking at my background.
Okay.
I read fine and industrial arts.
Great.
You know, and it will interest you to understand too that people write JAMB to study printing in our universities and our polytechnics.
Wow.
Have you heard that before?
No.
Yes. You understand? So now, you see, printing is a creative industry.
Yes, it's in the creative industry.
It's a creative industry. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yeah.
Majorly. So what I read is part of the creative industry. So a director or a millionaire or money misroad from somewhere coming in to invest cannot do it better than me. Because I know the rudiments of designs. I know the principles of design. I know what it takes to get a good job out. You understand? Looking at my background. Now, when I started, I came in with the background of a graduate from the university that want to, you know, compete, that want to give that thing that has not been in existence. You understand? That want to always go for the best. And what I did was for me to be a protege.
Okay.
I may not want to mention their names today, but today they are big names in this country when it has to do with printing. You understand? So, looking up to them as mentors has never done me anything bad. You know? So, that's, you know, penchant for
learning.
Not just for
mentorship.
Yes. Penchant for learning, but penchant for quality.
Okay.
That if this thing is not up to the standard that is needed, I will not stop. If this thing is not up to the standard that is universally accepted, it will not leave my office to be given to the clients. So I've always been that type that always test for quality. Because I believe that will be my, you know, my winning point. You know, and I can boast today that the people I studied from, or people that I learned from, today some of them come to me to ask me, how do we get this done?
Now, that is the aspect of professionalism.
Yeah. Now, people now look at it, oh, where did you get this job done? Who did this? And they say, the job was done by Chrome Waters. You know, and when I sit with my clients, when we exchange information, they are impressed. You know, printing is just one industry or is one trade that when you are good with it, You sit with governors, you sit with the cream of the society, because there are informations they may not be able to relate to you through their aides. They want to see the printer. They want to meet with the printer. Oh, I love this that you have done. Can you do this? Can you do that? They speak with you. You know, so that has just been my own selling point. You know, I started with quality. If it is not good, I don't give it out. If it is not up to standard, I don't rest. So I'm known for that. We set that standard and people follow. Now, I was able to develop fast as well too when I realized, look, I could attend exhibitions abroad to source for modern equipment, modern machines, you know, machines that are not easily seen, you know, things that are not easily seen. So all of that actually gave me speed. You know, whatsoever thing we are doing today, I'll tell you, I saw them 10 years ago in some of my journeys abroad, you know, in some of those exhibitions I attended. So all of that, you know, I will tell you, are actually my selling points.
Wonderful. Now, I want us to look at, you know, the professionalism aspect as it has to do with the entire sector, you know, because as you will know, we have a lot of print shops, you know, here and there, and most times people complain about the quality. Okay, so first let me ask you, have you had to deal with an angry client and, you know, a disappointed client, and how did it happen? How were you able to manage such a scenario or a situation?
Well, like they say the customer is always right. But I can't remember me disappointing someone.
Okay.
Because I have a principle. If your job is not done and I've committed myself, then my bed will suffer, because my bed will not see my back. You know, from where I was coming from, there's what they call studio practice. As an artist,
yeah,
you should learn to sleep in the studio. So in those days in school, they would tell you, look, this lecturer said we must submit his assignment tomorrow, and they are practical assignments. So what do? You hit the studio and you start working. You won't sleep. So that has been part of me. So immediately, I won't say I can't remember disappointing people.
Now,
the highest it will be that, okay, the old jobs are not set, and this program is starting in the next couple of hours. Some of it we actually
have to go
get
to the
venue for them to start with. That is the worst case scenario. Yeah, but this having to disappoint you, I've declined some jobs as well too.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember working for Institute for Security Studies, which is owned by the Department of State, and I started working. I designing their yearbook. You understand? It's like I think it's even high with rating presently is higher than NIPS by their rating presently. You know, and a committee was set up. We're being asked to design the yearbook, and we picked a template from NIPS and we started designing. And for not just for no reasonable reason, which I can actually lay my hand on, the job was delayed. And this modern fast technology of getting job printed, which is the direct imaging thing, was not common then. And I was being asked to produce this in 24 hours or maybe like 30 hours to get it ready for the graduation of that year. So I told the director, I said, sir, I have a name to protect. Your people have delayed this job. I wouldn't want to mess my name up. Please, I will decline doing this job. So whichever way it is, because if I had taken on that job, I would have disappointed them. My name would have been soiled. Maybe I would have ended up being in their cell.
So I think the takeaway from your answer now is knowing when to say no.
Definitely.
As a CEO,
Definitely.
As you engage with your customers,
Definitely.
you should be able to know when to say no.
Definitely.
Even when it looks lucrative, but knowing that your name is more than gold.
It is more than gold.
It's critical. Now let's look at, you mentioned technology.
Yeah.
Let's look at how have we been able to compete technologically in the printing industry compared to what is happening across Africa, for instance.
I think we are currently just still at the receiving end. Because we don't, if you look at the value chain, we don't produce any equipment. We don't produce even paper, even t-shirts. We don't produce. The fabrics would have said, okay, yes, we're producing in Kaduna. We don't. So in all of the value chain, we import virtually everything. So we won't say we are actually up there technologically. It's not that we can't be there. No, it's not that we can't be there.
Okay.
You know, because if you look at what we have on ground, the moribund paper mills,
yes,
if they are to be there working to capacity, then we'll go to Indonesia to go and get paper.
So now, from your response now, that there is enormous investment that needs to be made, and by that I mean, is there an opening for private investors to come into this value chain that you just talked about?
There are lots of opening. There are lots of opening. You see, what we need presently is not those big paper mills.
Okay.
What we need are just those smaller paper mills that can serve a sizable population, and we can have them spread around the nation. Now presently, we don't only use wood to make pulp. There are other plants that have been discovered, and they are here in Nigeria that you can use in making pulp. You understand? So the wood that we use to make pulp and later convert into paper are being taken from here
and shipped
abroad. So we have all the raw materials. Let's not even go into developing machines. No, we may not be able to do that now. But at least number one raw material for anything that has to do with printing is
available here.
Let us work with that. If that is being taken care of, I think we've solved our problem.
Now from
70%.
So is there a window, if somebody comes in now that he wants to invest in this value chain, what could be your advice?
Well, for anyone investing, I will advise they should. You understand? But not investing as in coming in to be a printer. No. I mean in producing these raw materials. Yes. In producing papers. That is one aspect that we build Nigeria out of the current state. Because
why I'm interested in this,
where we have found ourselves.
Why I'm interested in this
in Ministry of Trades and Investment, we have a department there called is it a department or unit? Sorry, we have a unit there under a particular department called Wood, Paper and Pulp.
Okay.
You understand? They are into research and they want to see what they can do. You understand? how we can harness our raw material here to use it in producing papers. You understand? The paper, I'm telling you the truth about it. If we are to save up to 3 trillion naira per annum in
from
that
importing
area,
papers.
from importing papers, do you know what?
So what you are, by implication, you are saying now that there is an investment opportunity of up to 3 trillion naira in paper production in Nigeria.
Yes, I'm hitting.
What is the profitability ratio? Can you make a projection?
Let me not project. Okay. Let me not project. Okay. But
it's huge.
It's very huge. Let me not just give you a figure.
Okay. Now huge. Let's come to
you know. Let me tell you something. Now we have a sole importer of paper
currently
into Africa, not just Nigeria.
Tell me something.
Vista imports every paper that comes into Nigeria. I think Vista and one other name. You understand? Now, if you go to Indonesia or you go to China and you say you want to import this thing and you mention Nigeria, they still direct you to those people.
Wow.
Now
so there's a cartel.
There's a cartel.
There's a cartel.
It's as bad as that.
Now, take me back to the paper mill. You pointed out that the paper mill was sold by the government to certain interests.
Yes.
Are they still Vistas?
I may not know the name, but the truth is there may be a link or something. You see, let me tell you something. Look at the last time. They said they wanted to sell Ajaokuta steel mill.
Yes.
I happen to know someone that worked on the reports. And you say, for you to privatize, you must have commercialized. What you have not commercialized, you
cannot privatize.
You are privatizing. Does it actually make any sense?
No.
Now, you see, when the person did the report, or when the committee did its report, in national planning, they discovered the reason why we have building collapse is actually as a result of substandard steel gotten from places like India. They bring them here and they sell to us. And when we check what we have in Ajaokuta, is still far 10 times better than what we import if we are to put it into use. You understand? Now, when they went further to make that research, they discovered the same company, the major importer of this steel into Africa, into Nigeria, they are the ones that want to buy Ajaokuta. So why do you think they wanted to buy it?
To kill it.
To kill it. So that will answer your question regarding our paper mills.
This is heartbroken. It's heartbroken. I mean, oh my God. So we have a government in place, and these things still happen.
Well, it's all about, you see, government has its priority per time.
What can be a more priority than...
The only thing we are praying for is let the economy be diversified.
No. You cannot have a diversified economy when this...
You see, our concentration on the black gold is too much.
But that is what we are saying. The government has been championing the issue of diversity, or the diversification of the economy.
What yourself and myself are discussing here about the printing industry. The government don't know it. The loss in that area. Do you know how many students we have in the secondary school across the nation? In primary school across the nation? How many textbooks will a student have? And just imagine all of these books being printed outside Nigeria and being brought in. They're called educational materials.
Yes. Okay. Now let's look at. I'm heartbroken, but let's look at the issue of today NLC is having a protest. Somebody says it's not in solidarity because actually ASU is an affiliate of NLC. So NLC is having a protest over the ASU strike. That tells you the power of alliance, the power of coming together.
Definitely.
So in the printing industry, with all these that you have said, is there an affiliation? Is there a body that is like, trying to see, to preempt or to prompt government into action?
Yeah, we have a charter,
okay,
which was signed into law by the late President, His Excellency President Musa Yar'Adua, in 2007. That was the first bill he signed into law, you understand, which gave the printing industry its charter.
So somebody took him to court?
Yeah, somebody took him to court. That look, our tenure was supposed to be for 2 years, and after 2 years, yes, we have right to recontest, which he was actually fighting. He never wanted any council member to come back to contest, and in that period our tenure expired. Then he was in no position to conduct an election again. Rather, he was supposed to hand over to a caretaker committee. If you have a 2 year, it's just like what you have now. After
the
Buhari's tenure in 2023, May 29, if he is not able to conduct election, he must hand over
a caretaker
government, and which the current president refused to do. And some persons went to court to tell him to step aside. So that same day, which he was to conduct his election, he was served a court injunction stopping him from conducting the election, and he disobeyed the court order. He went ahead to conduct an election, and the case is still in the court presently.
Wow. Okay. So let's now come back to if the private sector, which is supposed to be the driver of the printing industry, through this institute now, has not been able to find its footing, I suppose that the government as well should be able. You mentioned that there is a unit in Ministry of Trade and Investment.
Yes.
That is
wood, paper,
and pulp. I also know that based on the act, there is the Printers Act. Am I correct?
Yes.
There is a provision for the Printer General.
Yes.
Office of the Printer General.
Yes.
Is that office also comatose?
No, the office has been active. The office has been active. Like we speak, the Printer General was part of the council which I was.
Okay.
You understand? Even though if the council is still in no place, the office of the Printer General remains there as the #1 printer of the nation, and that is still how we have them in various states.
Wow.
In state ministries of education, of communication, of information and communication, we have
Printer Generals.
#1 printer. They are not Printer Generals, rather they are state printers. We only have one Printer General.
Yeah.
You understand? So they relate and report to the Printer General, who is the director in the Ministry of Information and Communication. He reports directly to the Honorable Minister, you understand, on the affairs of the printing industry in Nigeria. But like I've mentioned earlier, they still turn a blind eye to the potentials in the printing industry. You see, come to think of this, if Nigeria should take its position in the place of printing, the smaller countries around us,
the West Africa coast,
in the West Africa, we will be the one, or we should be the one printing their electoral materials for them.
Okay.
I'm telling you the truth about it. We should be the ones printing their because they go as far as South Africa. Why will somebody in Niger Republic here or in Cameroon going to South Africa? The printing industry in South Africa is large and it's strong. You understand? So if people will be, if any country will move down from the west coast down to South Africa to go and get their jobs done, what about here? That is just a stone throw.
So what will that be your assessment of the Printer General?
Yeah, you know, the Printer General is a civil servant. And being a civil servant, there are limitations to which he will actually do. You know, the Civil Service Act or Code actually restrict him in some areas as well too. So he can only advise. He can only advise the Honorable Minister. Now, the Ministry of Information has a press, a very big one, in Asokoro there. You understand? And we paid visit there. We saw machines that are unboxed. Millions of naira, hundreds of millions of naira lying down. Nothing is being done. The facility is a very big one. So it only takes the eye of a minister that understands what comes from printing, that will say, look, this what is this facility must be put to work. You understand? But if you look at it as nothing, it will remain nothing to you.
It's interesting. It has been an interesting conversation. As we try to wrap up this conversation, how have we been able to, you know, we have had a lot of challenges in the business ecosystem. The United Nations Office for Development and UNODC.
Okay.
I think they celebrated the year of the MSME with a team that you know, speaks to climate change, crisis, and all that. And we have had our own fair share of crisis, from the insecurity to even the climate change to the pandemic.
Yeah.
How have you been able to navigate, you know, these challenges? Are you still, you know, in the woods, or are you coming out from the woods?
You see, the truth about it is, the printing industry, I won't say they were at the receiving end of the negative part of COVID. Rather, they were repositioned. You see, what COVID brought was like a disruptive technology, where you have to put things on ground, scatter it, and reselect. That's the truth about it. COVID made more millions, made more millionaires out of people. That's the truth about it. So now, you see, come to think of this. Packaging got its boost as a result of COVID. Who are the people that are into packaging? Printers. You see, labels and stickers got its boost. Printers enjoyed that too. Whatsoever good thing that the pharmaceutical industry got as a result of COVID, printers benefited from it as well too.
Wow.
So, you see, if you look at it these days, after COVID, the courier industry got its boost.
Yeah.
The dispatch riders got their boost. You understand? And okay, I want to be selling this bottle of water. I need a label for it. Who produces the label?
The printers.
The printers. Oh, I'm doing small chops now. I'm doing cupcakes now. You can order online. You know.
You need a label.
You need a label. You need packaging.
So
you know. So the printing industry actually benefited a lot.
Okay.
From what happened, from the COVID experience.
Okay. So finally, what can you share with CEOs that are still facing the challenge of COVID and that are still facing the challenge of insecurity, the challenge of climate change? What will you tell them?
Are they actually CEOs facing challenges of the pandemic? But I believe there are CEOs facing challenges of insecurities, climate change, and things like that. Well, I would tell them to hold on, believe in what they are doing. Definitely let them look inward and see how they can diversify. You see, what happened to the world did not just happen to Nigeria alone.
Yeah.
The last place I visited some few months before the onslaught was Antwerp in Belgium. And I saw stores, big superstores were being locked up. And I was asking my friends, why? He said, look, the economy of the world is being affected. There was nothing like COVID then. That was in 2019. You know, so these are things that will definitely come. But don't just sit in one place and say, look, this is what I know how to do best. Now, between yourself and myself now, looking at what our ages are, we'll be planning for retirement. When I mean planning for retirement, you are not going home to be thinking of how you want to, the house you will be sleeping, to know how to sleep well at retirement. No. Picking up a course that will enable you to do less, but bring in more, you know, money into your pocket. So, as a CEO, we are actually bound to say, look, let us, you know, broaden our scope. Let us not be too rigid.
On that point, thank you very much. CEOs out there, you have heard him. Mr. Godwin Eloho is advising and urging you to look internally, look inwards, and find that niche market, find that niche strength, that niche ability that you can leverage on to serve your customers better. In addition to that, he made one very, very powerful recommendation. As CEOs, your planning for retirement is not going home or to the village to look for how you're going to sleep well. Rather, how can you metamorphose, you know, from who you are today into, you know, having more access to revenue-driven capabilities. And one way you can do that is to continue learning, and to continue sharing. And on this platform, we have promised you, we are going to be coming with likes of Mr. Godwin Eloho to share experiences that you can learn from. On that note, thank you very much for joining us, and see you shortly.